Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I will turn it over to you, Jordan.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of council. Good to see everybody. And thanks for Brian for letting us cut a bit into his time. We've had some good conversations with folks about the bipartisan infrastructure law. Last week was Department of Energy's consultation. And so comments for that consultation are due tomorrow at 5. I've been working with Ryan Rushi on comments for that. And so I'll turn it over to Ryan to let you guys know what we came up with, where we're at, and sort of where we expect to be. So go ahead, Ryan. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jordan, and thanks, council members. Mr. Chair, if it's okay here, I can share my screen and put up the draft that we have ready for your consideration. Is that in a format that you guys can read? So the Department of Energy's consultation process is a little bit different than what we saw with the Department of Interior. There are a specific number of programs that are designed specifically for Indian country within the Department of Interior, but it's primarily focused on energy-related activities, including energy resiliency and weatherization, which are certainly important issues to the tribes. But there's also an important component for Energy Keepers, the operation of SKQ Dam, as well as Mission Valley Power and the distribution and transmission side of the energy sector in this. And so they have really 4 questions that are much more general in nature. So if you might remember from the Department of Interior consultation that I think several of you sat in on, it was broken down into several different subject matters with specific questions related to each one of those programs. With the Department of Energy, they are really looking at, I think, trying to build a strong relationship with Indian country and design a program and grant process that works for tribal needs. So they had really 4 main questions that they asked for the tribes to respond to. What does the tribe need from the Department of Energy to inform the infrastructure planning and preparation? What are the most important technical assistant needs and why? As you look at the infrastructure programs that the Department of Energy has responsibility for, which are most interesting to you, to your tribe, and what's the most useful information or facts when designing and formulating grants. And so after, so Jordan has reached out to sort of all of the various tribal programs and entities that administer or have an energy connection, including Housing Authority, DHRD, Mission Valley Power, and EKI. And we've identified, I think, all of the broad areas where there may be potential for funding opportunities that the tribes may seek applications for. So, and what we heard in speaking with tribal staff and tribal entity leadership, is that it's because the Department of Energy is not necessarily an entity that has a massive tribal component to it, that having a specific liaison for at least for CSKT and maybe some other tribes in our entities would be very important to build the appropriate relationships within the agency. Second, having strong relationships between the Department of Energy and other federal departments that are administering similar infrastructure programs like Interior, HHS, HUD, and Department of Transportation. And so we've suggested that they consider doing memorandums of agreement or understanding to reduce the redundancy in services and eliminate any gaps. And then finally, we have sort of a bold sentence that says we really encourage them to consider a holistic approach to design funding opportunities that meet the specific needs of each individual Indian tribe. And that is because we think that each tribe is going to have pretty diverse and significant interests. Along those lines, we introduced sort of the whole concept of CSKT and the decades-long endeavor that the Tribal Council oversaw in taking over the operations of the dam, as well as Mission Valley Power, and how energy efficiency and resiliency has been sort of incorporated into the tribe's overall governmental operations. Looking forward, some of the big tickets under the third question, which programs are most of interest. There's the Department of Energy has a specific program for weatherization. Travel staff thinks that goes hand in hand with low income energy assistance programs, some of which are administered by other programs. So we want to call that out, as well as the renewable and energy efficiency programs that are designed for schools. As you note, with CSKT operating 2 separate schools. And then finally, specific needs relative to SKQ Dam and Energy Keepers operations, as well as Mission Valley Power. And then we sort of conclude the comments by saying that, particularly in the energy sector, one of the biggest problems with federally sponsored energy programs is that many of them are tied to tax credit incentives, which really do no good to Indian tribes because of the tribe's tax status. And so we're encouraging the tribe to sit down and visit with the tribe to talk about ways that they can provide this type of assistance that don't rely exclusively on tax incentives. So we've got this as a draft. As Jordan said, the comments from the tribe are due at the end of the day tomorrow. As with all of these consultations under the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, the departments are all doing them at very rapid pace because they are under significant pressure to get this funding out the door. So unlike the normal sort of 2-week or half a month opportunity for tribes to provide comments back in consultation, they've been giving them tribes about a week to do that, which is made for some heavy work on Jordan's part for sure. But at the same time, I think we all appreciate that they're actually trying to get this money out the door as quickly as possible. So we don't have this letter in final form. So I think what we're seeking from council at this point is general consensus that this is sort of the right direction, and allow us to use the following 24 hours to continue to work with tribal staff and tribal entity leadership to include any final touches on this, and then through general consensus authorize the chairman to sign this before the end of the day tomorrow. So happy to answer any questions. Sorry we haven't gotten this all to you on email prior to today's meeting, but it has been a work in progress and a little bit fast and furious. But we think important enough that some of these points really do need to be made to Secretary Granholm. So happy to answer any questions. There are still a few things that we have not included in this. One big missing component that we have notes on, but we just haven't got into the final document yet is additional hydro and other renewable energy infrastructure and assets that are outside of the hydroelectric arena. So things like Boulder hydro facility, as well as other types of renewable energy assets like solar, wind, geothermal, hydrogen electrolysis, those types of things. So that will go in here as well as any other further specificity on programs that are run by either the tribe's DHRD program or the Housing Authority. Jordan, is that the summary you were looking for?
Yeah, maybe even a little bit of an extra summary in there, but I appreciate that, Ryan. So yeah, that's it.
Sorry about putting the quarter in me. You know how that all goes, everybody.
Okay, is council taking the time to take a look at that letter? Does anybody have any comments or concerns or changes on the letter? Okay, I'll just get a consensus from the council. Looks like everybody's shaking their head. Tom, are you with us? Carol? Yeah, okay. Okay, that approval will be pending until we can get a full consensus, and then so we will go ahead and move on to the next issue.
All right, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jordan. Brian, you're up.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, members of council. Just to give a pitch of support for Ryan's letter, I had a lot of conversation with him and Jordan and attended the consultation last week with Jordan as well. So I like the approach. I think it's appropriate. Department of Energy has $62.4 billion spread over 70 different programs. And I think just our stuff from Energy Keepers, I think we have a good chance of getting a lot of it funded, but it's going to be spread all over the place. And thus the flavor of our letter is let's get some conversation with them early and try to get in a position where these programs are more structured as they bring the structure together more concisely, that it positions them where we can compete for the dollars.
All right, thank you, Brian. I appreciate you taking the time to work with them and get some input on there, because your input is valued. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So next item I have up for you is consideration for participation in the commissioning of the USS Montana. Of course, we've given you a couple updates. We did a bell ringing here, I think was the most recent. In that we also showed you the pipe that Gene Sorrell really worked with Dwight Bilodeau to get constructed. So that'll all be part of the ceremonies. That'll take place June 23rd through the 25th in Norfolk, Virginia. And what I'm looking for is action from you today to commit a tribal council person, and maybe also have a conversation with you about additional sponsorship of a tribal drum as well. So a little bit more detail. Thursday is a travel day. Takes all day to get there, of course. It's like flying to DC. And it's also like flying to DC, and it is not cheap. My wife and I made our plane reservations, and I think we were in $1,500 a piece. So keep that in mind. I've got a little budget at the end I'll put in front of you so you have numbers to consider. So Thursday's a travel day. Friday then is all day at the Naval Shipyard, getting tours of the boat and of the Naval Shipyard itself. So pretty impressive. I went there via Google Earth and checked it out. It is, I think it's the largest naval shipyard in the country, therefore the world. So it's quite significant from that perspective. So getting a tour of it's going to be kind of cool. And then we'll get a tour of the submarine that day as well. It'll be docked and be ready for the commissioning ceremony, which will take place on Saturday. Friday then will culminate with a dinner that's put on by the commissioning committee, which I'm a member of. And at that commissioning committee will actually be the presentation of the pipe to the Navy. And then of course that pipe will reside on the boat itself for the life of the boat. So 30 years is the forecasted life. So it will ride there with and be with those who serve on the boat for its entirety. Then the second day, Saturday, we get over there fairly early, and the commissioning's not that long, maybe 90 minutes, pretty short ceremony. And there'll be then opportunity for at least our flag and other tribal flags will be presented either on stage already, or they'll be part of a procession. Those are details yet to work out. We have one outstanding issue of maybe a tribal blessing of the boat itself that might take place by the ship sponsor, who is, why do I forget her name all the time? She was a previous Secretary of Interior under Obama. I'll remember it in a minute, probably when I'm walking out. So there's a blessing of the boat, potentially that might require some tribal person to do that. But the bigger part of things, then there'll also be designated dignitary seating for all the tribes that can send dignitaries to participate. So I'll be talking to the other tribes as well, either via writing or if they have Zoom meetings, I'll get in front of them as well and ask for their participation also. So the drums participation will be at the beginning. There'll be a flag song of the commissioning, and then we'll go into a national anthem, and that'll kind of kick things off. The night before, there will also be a need for the drum to participate and also provide either a flag or an honor song the night before as well. That will be part of the handing off of the pipe to the Navy. So if you kind of scroll through, I provided all of the schedule and everything. So you'd have everything to make arrangements. At the very end, you'll see an invitation. So the Navy will send an actual, and I'm guessing this is like for framing, appropriate for framing type of an invitation from the Secretary of Navy or something to attend the USS Montana commissioning. Right above that, you'll see an estimated budget. So like I said, $1,500 to fly to Norfolk, Virginia. At this point in time, a couple nights stay in Norfolk. I budgeted $360 for that, but that's kind of dependent on a block of rooms that might already be gone. So if those are gone, then add another $300 to that. So 600, and then meals and incidentals for a couple days I put in there. So figure $2,500 per person to go. So for you all, it's to consider a tribal council person, maybe an additional, if you so desire. And then the drum group, which is 5 at this point in time. I talked to the Brothers Drum. They're excited to go and would be honored to represent us there and do these activities for us. Lastly, Energy Keepers does have some dollars that we've dedicated towards supporting the community. So EKI could also participate in sponsoring the drum as well. So I'll pause there, see if there's any questions, see if you guys want to assign a tribal council person and support.
Okay, Carol, your comment?
You know, I was thinking, I know Martin had volunteered, you mean to go?
Yes.
I was thinking since Bing is our military guy on the council that has served. And I don't know if anybody else has that's currently on council, but that's why I thought Bing should go. And then also I thought maybe Dan Decker could go with him because he's also served to be his kind of like assistant to guide him. I mean, that's my thought. I just think it out of respect for the elder councilman and being on the military and being on council.
All right, thank you, Carol. I appreciate that comment, and I have to agree also. And if that is something that Bing could fit in his schedule and is willing to go, I would support that also. Well, I would also support taking his wife if his wife is wanting to go. I mean, it's only fitting that she go along with him. Does everybody agree with that, or Bing? Are you up for that? Okay, well, there you have it. There's our delegate.
Okay, so Bing and his wife, and Dan Decker Jr.
And Dan Decker,
Well,
if he's
Daniel J, I guess we call him. We don't call him.
Dan Jr., if he's up for it and wants to attend, yeah, I
Okay.
would support that also.
Okay,
In regards to the Drum Brothers, this is an event that we need to get as much representation as we can. This is a huge event.
It
You
is,
know, This
yeah.
is, I mean, especially when we are getting close to, and I hate to talk about it, but getting close to war, we're in wartime. And this may be one of the fleets that is maybe the first to dispatch over there. We don't know that yet, but anyway, I would certainly support getting many of our representatives over there as we can.
so just doing the math on the drum, if there's 5 of them, that's 12,500 to get them all back there.
Okay.
If you split it with Energy Keepers, that'd be 6,250 for you guys and 6,250 for us.
No, you just pick it all up, right?
Okay.
No, we could do the 50-50 thing.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, I think you need to have the wife of the head drummer too, Jen,
okay.
because she's the one that keeps them organized, so,
She's an integral part.
yeah.
Okay, we'll make it happen.
Okay,
Um,
that sounds good, yeah.
There may be, I've been visiting with Gene. In the event there's tribal blessing of the boat necessary, I think he would be a good candidate. So we'll see how that all comes about, and we'll figure out how to get him back there as well if that is a need also.
That'd be great.
And
if we could do
yeah,
that.
I concur with you. mean, the president just went and participated in the commissioning of the USS Delaware. It's the 18th Virginia class submarine. The USS Montana is the 21st.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're a couple, but it's all happening so quick because of COVID restrictions. Also, to your point about being first dispatched, absolutely. This is the future of kind of the war at sea, so to speak, and the submarines are really quite capable vessels. When I first got into this, I didn't know a dang thing about them, but as I started to learn about their capabilities, I was blown away about what they can do. And of course, a pitch from my niece, she was working for Lockheed Martin at the time and actually in a black box somewhere designing some of their communication equipment that was going on this boat. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. So it is, I'm impressed. And I think it will speak loudly to the world to know that, you know, as a peacekeeping force, the United States is far and away above the rest of the world. So I concur from that perspective too, Len.
All right. Thank you, Brian. And once again, I want to thank you for bringing this all forward to us. This is a once in a lifetime event, and I'm very honored that, you know, that they've asked us to participate, and then for one of our own elders, the ability to take the time to put a peace pipe together was just phenomenal. I was just very, very, very impressed, and I know he was just really honored to do such a task. So thank you for all that.
Absolutely. Okay, I will work with Jen and we'll get travel arrangements proceeding and get things going. And,
Sounds good.
We'll keep you guys posted, and I'm sure we'll get some great video footage of the commissioning itself and our drum group participating there. So thank you all.
All right. Thank you.
Hey.
While we're waiting for the last person, I have John Harrison here. He had something that he wanted to bring up to you guys.
Very well. John Harrison, you're next out of the chute.
Good afternoon, Council. So I'm used to be 10 in the morning. It just comes out of my mouth like that. I just want to, you might have seen it in the news. I wanted to update you. 60-page order came out yesterday evening. We got it on the voting rights case. You know that we had the oral argument a couple of weeks ago that I had updated you guys on. So the tribe's case was consolidated with Montana youth voters and the Montana Democratic Party's case. They had the argument on all 4 bills. We've opposed 2 of them. The new law that eliminates same-day voter registration and the law on ballot collection that would limit Western Native Voice from collecting ballots being part of that program. There's going to be a trial on the merits in June on this, but we had asked to enjoin those laws, to not allow them to go into force until this was resolved through the trial. The judge heard oral argument on that preliminary injunction motion and issued a 60-page order yesterday, striking all 4 laws from going into place prior to the full trial on the merits. So this is good. This means the suppressive laws that were put out there are now enjoined from going into force. So we're going to operate the elections right now like we had in the past. It preserves the status quo. So I just want to get down in front of you as quickly as I could to let you know. I'm still going through the opinion. It's pretty dense and lengthy, but it's good news. The North folks let me know yesterday. They extend their congrats to all the tribes and to the CSKT, and I extended to them our appreciation for their good work along with the ACLU. We're going to continue to move through the case. Rob's going to have his deposition on the 19th, and we're going to work to prepare him on that. But for right now, the laws that were passed that we consider to be suppressive, all 4 of them, the youth vote issue, the same-day registration, the ballot collection, and the voter ID one that was passed that was restricted some voter IDs, are all currently enjoined.
So, all right, John, thank you for that update. That is so good to hear, knowing the fact that you know, they were trying to suppress us at all levels, and to hear an outcome such as this, you know, it's just very promising to hear. And I appreciate the work that you've done on this, and yeah, it's just a phenomenal update to hear. And
Yeah, yeah.
there
Thanks, Mr.
is
Chair.
there is some justice out there. So
Yeah, yeah, you know, it's good, end of the day on a Thursday to come in and give you a little bit of good news. I'm always coming in here with some, often some cruddy, not always, but often with
No,
some
it's-
cruddy news. So this is a good victory. So for sure, for the primary, we're in status quo with the voting stuff, and we're hoping for this fall to have this. This is a good sign. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it's a good sign. And the judge right now is looking at it saying, I think you've got a good argument. So it puts them on their back foot a little bit. For sure in the primary, we're good to go. Probably, I think, in the fall, but no guarantees. We'll keep
Okay.
you updated. We'll keep moving on this as much as we can. And just as a quick update, since I was in here Tuesday, I did talk with the North team. We're going to try to have a Sanders response here pretty soon. I'm hoping they want to get a draft out this week. I'm hoping Tuesday we'll have something for you to look at. There'll be a response, and we're going to be trying to talk with the RLE folks. We're going to maybe make a few adjustments with this ruling that came out. So we'll see in terms of what can be done at these satellite offices, maybe some registration or some other things. But we're not exactly sure yet. But we're going to try to work through that. So I've sort of been pushing the team. They've been backed up with, you know, this is obviously something that's been holding them up, the actual litigation. But we're going to keep moving, and I think we'll have something going on that fairly soon. I'm hoping. So
okay, all right. Thank you, John.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Good way to finish the day.
it is. Yeah, thank you guys very much. And everybody have a good weekend, and
Okay.
you'll see this in the news. I think it's got a lot of coverage. Well, one thing I should give you a heads up, the state is unhappy with the result. They have
I'm sure
committed
they
to an
are.
immediate appeal. So you'll see that in the news too. They're going to say we're immediately appealing. We think we'll win in the Supreme Court. We'll see. I don't know. I think we've got a good case. So that might be a wrench that gets thrown in here where there might be some Supreme Court briefing, but we'll see. Right now, we're in a good place, so we'll take it at the end of the week here and just be happy with that. So it's good news. We're ahead of the game right now. I'd rather be us than them right now. So
Sounds good.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. This morning, it was this morning. Okay. All right, we have just the one more item. This was the Biden infrastructure law letter that was put together by the legal department for the chairman's signature. Everybody had a chance to take a look at this, and I was just trying to get a consensus from everybody to have the chairman sign it and get that off. The letter is due tomorrow. So did you get a chance to look at it, Carol? It's the infrastructure law, infrastructure law comments that were due tomorrow. There were 4 questions that were outlined in there. Ryan Rushi and Jordan Thompson and Brian Lipscomb worked on it together, and it was a pretty good response. And yeah.
Department of Energy has 62 billion to spend. We're talking about our energy needs in the letter.
Sure, if they put it together, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Jen, if you just let them know and get that letter to Tom for his signature. Okay, anything else? Anybody else have any other issues? If not, I will adjourn the meeting. For who? Oh, the census. Oh, okay. They're not until 3, right? And they're gonna come in person? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and just take 5. Maybe 55. Maybe. Or 60. Well, there's no action required, so I can meet with them if that's what council would like, and we can adjourn the meeting. And I can give you guys an update on the meeting on Monday. Okay. Cause it's another hour. If you guys don't want to wait around, I could just go ahead and take care of that. That sound good to you guys? Yeah. Yeah, when he shows up, I'll tell him he's got one more item to take care of and
Yeah.
yeah.
It should be an interesting thing because there's a lot of census data that we need to be able to access. And hopefully they tell us how to access it, what kind of information it is. It's the kind of thing, the numbers we need to put in all the grants.
Exactly. Yep. Okay.
It should be some really good stuff. Maybe the possibility of how to get that really good stuff. With that, I'm gonna escape.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Well, I will just go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Well, then you're asking for an introduction.